This is sand. And this is also sand. Sand is an early access extraction based shooter that is currently in development by Hologryph and TowerHaus Studios, a Ukrainian based gaming company. I wanted to give you my first impressions of the game after playing 5 hours of the live playtest beta. At the current moment, the beta is offline, but they did say that it was going to be back in a couple of weeks. But I wanted to showcase the game anyway because I felt like there was a lot of potential going on with this game. Starting first and foremost is we're going to be talking about all the good things and all the bad things about it. But don't worry, this is not meant to be a slight against the developers. They've actually been rather dedicated about taking care of the current issues that surround the game. In fact, they actually ended the beta early to address a lot of the issues, like a day early. So they are cognizant and aware of what's going on, and they're going to be showcasing the game at a later date, probably in the next couple of weeks. This video might come out before then, but I'm not entirely sure. First things first, we're going to be talking about is the ship customization. You explore this arid desert planet using these landwalker type ships that are actually quite customizable despite the fact that it's only in early access. At the current moment, you can do pretty much whatever you want with these ships. Depending on how you build it, you could fit up to 6 people in your crew, and the bigger the ship, the slower it will go, or the more power it will consume. But there are ways around this that make it a lot of fun. The only thing that I actually have to complain about as regards to this system is that it's not very intuitive as to what goes on. You kind of have to sort of play around with it for a while in order for it to actually make any sense, and even then, it still might not make that much sense. But if they kind of like sharpen the edges of this, I think this is a very fun way to get people's creativity in motion. I really want to see a bunch of like uniquely designed ships that all function differently and do different things for different purposes. And I would like them to also just not focus on nerfing powerful ship builds and more elevating weaker ship builds to kind of correspond with more powerful builds. That being said, it is very fun to build the ship. I spent like at least an hour just trying to figure it out and having a lot of fun with it. You can start off with like basic platforms, and you can add turrets to it. You can add extraction. You can add your loots. You can add rooms. You can add a captain's quarters, an engine. And the way that you get more parts for your ship is by purchasing them with the in-game currency, and with that, you oftentimes find yourself like kind of getting immersed into the shipbuilding, which is really good. There's actually a lot of nice customization that goes on in this game. It's quite amazing, actually. The second thing that we're going to be talking about is the gameplay itself. So you start off on the planet called Sophie. You start off with a crew of anywhere between yourself and up to 6 people, and you go around this arid planet called Sophie and try to find as much loot as you can and then extract out while trying to avoid other players or trying to kill other players. It's very interesting. Like I said, it reminds me very much of Sea of Thieves, but unlike Sea of Thieves at launch, this game has a lot more content in it, and it's way more polished, despite the issues with that it has. And Sea of Thieves was pretty bare bones when it came out. That being said, though, it is very, very fun to shoot things. You can go. There's actually so much that you can actually do with your ship and to other players that is actually very, very fun. For example, my friend Jet Shoes and we were playing the game by ourselves without just us two, and we were looting this ship, and some guys came aboard our ship and stole the cannons. They didn't steal any of the loot that we got. They stole the cannons. So that was an experience, to be sure. But also, you could do. I imagine this could be like a lot of montages where people are just running around with explosive barrels trying to blow up enemy ships for the reals. I did that. I actually got to do that. I don't know if it actually did anything, but it was very, very fun. The looting system is actually very simple. You can store things in your own inventory, but you can also carry around these little boxes, these little green boxes, and hoard as much loot as you can in them, and then go that way. There are enemies that inhabit these towns and settlements and landmarks, and they will shoot at you, and they are actually very accurate, despite the fact that they are just NPCs. I'm going to call them Sophies for the time being, but Sophies are these like little coral-like creatures that sort of like inhabit these like Midwestern these Western bar scenes that you can kill, and they drop loot, and they are very accurate. Some of them have shotguns, some of them have just regular pistols, some of them have rifles. So it is actually kind of a way. There's also, it's kind of really cool actually. There's like this dolphin-esque shark creature that runs around in the sand. I never got to experience this, honestly, but I saw it chasing my friend around, and it was very terrifying. They did say that they're going to add more stuff like that in the game, which I am actually looking forward to. I think that's going to be very, very fun when they get around to it. And the way that you utilize the loot is actually, you can do a couple of things. You can get a bunch of like healing items, you can get a bunch of food, ammunition, like scrap. There's like scrap like for like cloth, thread, metal, so on and so forth, and you can use that to extract with, and you can use that to upgrade your ship, or you can also use it to sell to also purchase upgrades for your ship. Like I said, there's like 4 tiers of upgrades that you can utilize and get a hold of that will make your ship more customizable, probably more ergonomic, and just better in every single way. The cannon fire is very good. The guns feel nice. I was actually not expecting this. Some of the starting weapons, aside from the pistols, have 1 shot each, but you can obtain weapons throughout the game as you play to get better weapons and to get more things, and you can get better loot. You can get better ammunition. You can get armor to make yourself live longer, and it's very, very nice. The next thing that we're going to be talking about is the driving. The driving is actually very, very complex. In a good way. It's very complex in a good way. So it feels like that you're really piloting a ship. So the way that you have it is that you have your steering wheel, and the way that you turn is you can move it either to the left, to the right, and that's how you turn. But if you want to make sharper turns, you can move a nozzle over, move a lever over on this side, and then it will make sharper turns on either side. And you can go up to 2 speed, and you can stop. You could also go backwards, and it's very fun. And the way that you can go faster is, other than going up to your max speed, is by installing more fuel cells, which will propel your ship so far away. Like if you're being chased, and I don't think many people actually know about this yet, maybe because the playtest was not very long, but if you put in your fuel cells, you go so fast. Like, it's very crazy. It's very crazy that you go how fast you go. On to the grievances. As with any playtest, I'm not actually going to be railing them too hard on this, because I think it's actually quite good that they're listening to the community, and they shut the server down early to fix these problems, because they were quite a bit. First things first, the invitation system is a little buggy. It took my friends like 3 or 4 times to actually send the invite before it actually populated on my side. I think that's a thing that they could definitely work on fixing. The next thing is, when we first logged into our very first game, it was basically a buggy, incoherent mess. We couldn't find our landwalker because it didn't spawn in properly. We were running around this flat area being shot at, and then the server crashed. You're going to experience quite a few crashes during this if you played during this playtest, and these might not necessarily be resolved by the time they get the playtest rolled around again, but I imagine that they're going to work diligently to get this all sorted out and worked out. the next thing that really kind of irritated me as a was I was there were 2 times where I was piloting the ship and I got stuck on the ship. There is a way that you could kill yourself, which I didn't actually do at the time, but there is a way to. But I kind of got my hands glued to the steering wheel, and I was not able to leave. So I think that needs to be worked out, obviously, because sitting in a purgatory where you're kind of just unable to play the game other than drive is very frustrating. But that's all we're going to be talking about for the time being is for Sand. When the next playtest comes out, I'm going to try to see if I can't get more footage of it. It ran very well for what it was worth. When we did get to play, it was very fun. But there was just like a lot of problems with it, like the servers crashing. My friend Jacob was frustrated because he was stuck at a 100% loading time at the entire time, but it wouldn't let him in the game. So he was just kind of getting frustrated over and over again, and yeah, that stuff kind of needs to be ironed out. But I think the game overall has a lot of potential. I think this game has a lot of potential to be very, very good. So when the next playtest comes around, do I recommend people giving it a shot? Yes, I very much do recommend people giving it a shot. I think that the game is going to be in I think it's in very good hands with the way that the developers are taking a look at it and listening to feedback. If you guys did enjoy the video, please leave a comment in the comment section below. Like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you guys like this new format. I'm going to try something new with this. I wanted to try it with Sand specifically because I thought it would be very a good way to test it. So, like I said, if you guys like this, I'll see you guys in the next video. This has been Hypocritical Gaming, signing out.